And yeah, I think it's so good to see so many of you here. We have about 40 people, but even more since there's some watch parties, like people have been saying in the chat. So great to have so many of you here. I think we'll have opportunities to come out of mic and speak, particularly in the discussion portion. But for now, if folks want to introduce themselves in the chat and put some of these informations, name, organization, where you're coming from, and then one reason that you're organizing against US-led war today would be great so that we can see the breadth of the people and organizations that are here today. Great, we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. And yeah, I think many folks here are members of the network, but this meeting is also open to folks that are not members yet or that are interested in the network. So I'll just give a brief introduction of Resist US-led War as a network. We are a broad global network of anti-war and peace organizations that is united under a manifesto of 2 points of unity. The first one being our name. So Resist US-led War in its many forms, be it through sanctions, all-out warfare, covert operations, so all of these things. And then the second one being fighting for a just peace, a peace that is not just the absence of armed conflict, but really one that is fought for by the people so that they can have their right to justice, to self-determination, to sovereignty. And yeah, those are 2 points of unity that the members of the network unite under. And we were formed in 2017. We do conduct campaigns, education work, produce resources, and hope to better connect the fight against US-led war throughout the globe and grow the international solidarity between our movements. So that's what we hope to do here today, as well as the US continues its advance into this imperialist offensive into Venezuela, but also the whole of Latin America, the Caribbean, and of course in many other parts of the world. We're seeing, be it in West Asia with the genocide on the Palestinian people, be in the military buildup in the Asia Pacific, its bombings in Nigeria with its Africa Command. So all these different forms of US-led war we're seeing today. It's great that we're here to both learn and also strengthen ourselves so that we can fight back against US-led war. And this is our bi-monthly meeting. We hope to bring members together here so that, we can coordinate better the struggles against US-led war. And it's great to have you here. We'll go through the agenda in a second, but just to start the meeting, we'd like to play a quick video that was produced for the month of action. The Resist is also bringing in and waging with allied organizations so that it can ground us as well in this moment. You can play the video, please.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
We would have taken it over, we would have gotten all that oil, it would have been right next door. They didn't respect us at all before. So that's money that goes to the United States, and some will go to the oil companies.
We know that the U.S. government did. It's an illegal attack. It contravenes everything that has to do with international law. We have seen how the U.S. imperialism, the government and the corporation has taken off their mask.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it.
President Trump said, not anymore. We're taking our backyard back.
They want to dictate commerce, culture, and development of all Latin American countries. And the next few weeks are going to be very important, well in people, but for all peoples in Latin America and around the world.
Iran's in big trouble. We're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
It's important now to link all the US-led imperialist attack on the people of the world. People's resistance will show the world that they cannot do this. Our solidarity with the people of Venezuela, the people of Latin America, will stand a guard against what is happening. Millions of us will be with you.
El pueblo unido jamás será
So yeah, thank you so much for the folks that produced the video. And again, just reiterating the calls that were made in the video and that we're also carrying as peoples in solidarity with Venezuela right now, right? Stop the war in Venezuela. We stand with the Venezuela against the US imperialist offensive in both Latin America and the Caribbean as a whole, to free President Maduro and first combatant Celia Flores, and to defend the Venezuelan sovereignty and right to resist. So yeah, I think as we go into the meeting, just wanted to put the objectives on the table so that we can keep clear and contextualize both the sharing that we'll have from our guest, Richard Lobo, and the discussion, what we want to accomplish in the meeting. So, first objective being to expose and fight back against the US attacks on Venezuela and learn what is happening on the ground. Share about the Month of Action campaign and collectively discuss action plans within the network and also allied networks and how we can grow the international solidarity with Venezuela and fight with the Venezuelan people. Share resources and education that have been produced so far and understand what will help us to strengthen the fight as well. And then deepen the relationships through the discussion and sharing to also broaden the movement, not to stay just in this meeting, but also as we leave the meeting to also bring that energy into the fight against US-led war. So based on these objectives, we can go to the next slide. Our agenda is separated in two main points. So we had the welcome, and then we'll hear a situationer from our guest, Richard Lobo, which is from the Venezuelan embassy in the Philippines, hoping to deepen our collective analysis and solidify the understanding of this current imperialist aggression. And then second, have updates on the campaigns. So a lot of people are on the streets already, and that's great. We want to hear what tactics have been working, what have people been doing, to also guide us into a discussion of what we can do next, right? After this blatant attack, it's important to have this consistent solidarity and also understand how we can do more and deal bigger blows to the war machine. Yes, that's great. Maybe we can go to the next slide. And yeah, this is important. We'll hear more from this, but this is just a plug. This is also part of a month of action that we are waging with our allies in the International League of People Struggles, Bayan, International Women's Alliance. That started yesterday. We had a great launch event. We can plug that in when it's released. And then some of the resources that we already produce, exposing the myths of that the US has been constructing around Venezuela and what really is the reality of the Venezuelan people and the Bolivarian Revolution. We see the link in the chat if you want to know more. And yeah, we can move in. Yeah, without further ado, I'll pass the microphone to Richard Lobo, which is our guest. He is in charge of the affairs of the embassy of Venezuela in the Philippines. He has a bachelor's degree in international studies and a master's degree in international studies and oil diplomacy. Mr. Lobo is also a member of the PSUV, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, and has been a diplomat for more than 35 years. He worked as a diplomat, posted in Austria, in Germany, in India, and right now currently in the Philippines. When in Venezuela, Mr. Lobo also comes from a family that is part of the Socialist Party and has dedicated his profession to work with the cooperatives and the trade unions that are in charge of the country and that are part of this democratic process of the Bolivarian Revolution. And also to strengthen Venezuela relations and cooperation with global South countries in the fields of education, manufacturing, agriculture, and then also infrastructure. So I'll pass the mic to the Honorable Richard Lobo right now. And a reminder, we have 30 minutes for both the presentation and then we'll have a Q&A after that.
Thank you very much, Victor and Carly. First of all, I really want to thanks Resist US-led war movement for this opportunity in order to have a voice, in order to know about what's happening in Venezuela, what's the up to update the situation there in Venezuela. This is something that we need to do because it's an ongoing process, as you see. It's something like that you see that every single day it's in development, but not only in Venezuela, but in the whole world. So I have some presentation. I don't know if you can put it on the screen. So this yeah, perfect. So this is we name it Venezuela under threat. This is what the stage of the situation there in Venezuela. We are under threat, and we qualify this threat as a globalist hegemonist war operation against the Bolivarian revolution, not only with Venezuela, but with the whole world. Now, you see a nice picture there, photo there with the geopolitical vision. What are the costs of this U.S.-led war machine strikes on Venezuela? You see this photo, not updated, of course, about the 9 countries without the Rothschild-owned central bank. The remaining countries without any further attack that have prevailed, it's Iran, Cuba, and North Korea. Venezuela, it's under attack now, and Syria, you know what has happened and what happened last year. So we are struggling now, and this is as I said, this is an ongoing process. So we don't know exactly what would be the outcome of this. So next slide. Yes, we see how we are the U.S. war machine started preparing the ground for a major conflict with Venezuela. You see this has happened for many years now, but they enhance and stress this menace, this threat against Venezuela since July, August last year. We saw how in September, under the disguise of drug interdiction operation, they start bombing boats in the Caribbean without any kind of effort to have a proper operation concerning the law enforcement. So we saw that they bombed the boats. They just call them narco boats without any kind of proof concerning this. I remember the first one when we saw the video of many people, around 11 people in one small boat, and they just blast the boat without any kind of way to stop, or not even to warn the people there, but they just did it. For us, they committed an extrajudicial crime. So they were preparing this ground for a major conflict with Venezuela, with the declaration of this U.S. national security strategy in November 2025. If you could have read this document, The main subject of this it's to justify the war of aggression and the expansion of imperialism in the whole world. They brought back the Monroe doctrine in the whole Western Hemisphere with an addendum called Corollary Trump, and just to justify not only the presence of the United States all over the government of the United States. We have to be clear on that. All over the Western Hemisphere, from Canada to Argentina, but to prevent other political actors or economic actors, namely Russia, Iran, China, to interfere in their wishes and desire of having a total blockade from their forces to this area. Of course, that this Corrali and this new renovated Monroe Doctrine will bring consequence for all of us, not only for the other countries like the big powers like China, Russia, in order not to enter the area, but for us, because I mean, when I say for us, for the Western Hemisphere, for Latin America, for South America, for the Caribbean, because now we are under the threat and the menace of developing ourselves. We, in some way, we are subject to lose the sovereignty, of course, and the self-determination. This is something that will be developed a little bit further. The third, it's BRICS of globalist elite as the globalist elite main challenge for domination. This is what happened there. You may remember that during the last 4 or 5 years, BRICS has consolidated as an economic group that challenge G7, that challenge without any kind of a way of force or threat of force to the other countries, and they have developed. You have seen Russian investment in Central Asia. You have seen initiative of cooperation from China in Africa, even in East Asia, and of course in Latin America. This paradigm, this new model of cooperation and economic growth, of course, challenge the not only the G7 structure, but the corporation desire that at the end, that's the view of Venezuela, at the end, are the one that are leading the U.S. war machine. We are in some way we consider that what President Trump is doing is just merely work. He just works for the elites, from the corporate elites, and he is just the executioner of all the guidelines for the globalist power. This is something that we bear in mind, and it's something that we have to take into account for the remaining of the presentation. The fourth item in this process to prepare the ground for an attack to Venezuela was the de-dollarization that we were seeing in Venezuela. As you see, after the set of sanctions that we had we still have in Venezuela, especially from 2015, Now we have more than 1,000 sanctions. We decided, the government, the Bolivarian government, decided to start spreading, disseminating, and diversifying our economy because we didn't have support from the U.S. As a country, from the United States, and we decided to start seeking our options and strengthening another option, like Russia, like Iran, like China, and of course with the global south, the whole global south. And we start selling our product, the main product that we have, oil, and we open like several baskets. That's the simple way of saying. And then we start trading our products in Indian rupees, in rubles, Russian rubles, in reals from Brazil, and in the yuan from China. That gave us in a way, some stability in Venezuela, because we didn't have to use the US dollar as a main currency, even though we are still using it. But we have we have had this, in some way, this power. Of course, this is a process that it's not from the United States, and that's not from. They don't like this. They don't like this because this brick entry wish from Venezuela, and the dollarization that they saw. That, I mean, all the people saw, all the world saw. They started believing that it's possible to start to get economic growth, to have this idea of progress without relying on the dominance of the United States war machine and the United States government. And at the end, we had, this is the background, the 24 election in Venezuela, where President Maduro won for the third time, where the General Assembly, we call it the Parliament or Congress, had a super majority of the Socialist Party of Venezuela, and the creation and implementation of the Homeland Plan 2026-2031. What I had to do with this grant? First, the concerning election of the president, there was a majority of the people who vote for President Maduro. Just you saw all the discussion that we are having now, like how did the opposition parties or opposition agents in Venezuela declare that they have the majority when you saw it right now, after President Maduro was kidnapped. They didn't have anything, any kind of a demonstration on the street. They didn't have any kind of decisive action in Venezuela and elsewhere. You only saw the gathering in Doral, in Florida, and in some more places, but not a sound manifestation from the opposition. But I can say then right away, the thing with the election in Venezuela, with the parliamentary election, from the Socialist Party, along with the allies, they got 256 seats, only 29 for the opposition parties. You saw it probably during this day with installation of the Congress, and 3 indigenous seats indigenous tribes see that we have by rule in Venezuela. And the Homeland Plan, it's just a reinforcement and the establishment of this, not only the dollarization, but the diversifying our economy and start producing what we need. Probably you remember at the second stage of a sanction in 2016 and 2019 that we had a severe scarcity in Venezuela of products. Now, by the end of last year, just a few weeks ago, we saw that now we are producing in Venezuela 99% of all the food needs. So it's really important, this, because it's the declaration of Venezuela that we can do it without the threat and the sanction that we're seeing. Okay, next slide. Yes. Now we are seeing how left countries and progressive countries, how they interact and how is the weight in this global political and economic system. You have seen during the last 2 decades how Latin America has worked as a model for humanism. You saw the regional cooperation and sovereignty in the Caribbean, with starting with President Hugo Chavez, early 2000. You saw, and this is really paradoxical and meaningful. And this is what gives us some moral strength in Venezuela. The produce of the oil and other activities that we do in Venezuela, we use it not only for the people, but for the people of our countries, for the people of other regions. In this case, from Latin America and the Caribbean. You saw, and how we start cooperating. I don't like this word assistance, but the cooperating with Cuba, with Nicaragua, with Bolivia, with the whole Caribbean, with this scheme, with this mechanism of Petrocaribe, that's giving oil almost at no interest, with a lot of time for them to repay. And this way they could develop themselves, they could grow themselves. And of course, we are in some way creating and consolidating this Caribbean and South America, in the case of Bolivia and Ecuador and Colombia, as a zone of peace. So this is what happened there during the first 2 decades of 2000, this 21st century. Then that happened, the Obama executive order in 2015, when the United States government declared Venezuela as a unusual and extraordinary threat to the U.S. National security. Just imagine that. Venezuela threatening or being considered a threat to the national security of the United States. At that time, you might remember, they didn't witness any, the government of the United States, they didn't receive any consideration concerning waves of migrants going there. That started in 2017. Why? Because of what I told you. In 2016, the scarcity, because of this executive order, and a way, a normal, logical way for families to cope and to get a way out of this sanction. because it's hard economy. I remember to 2019, we didn't have anything at all concerning the oil, gasoline. I remember I was there in Caracas at that time. We had these big lanes of cars trying to put gasoline, and we, like children, applaud and celebrate when we received the oil tankers from Iran and from Algeria in order to get the product additives for our oil in order to make this gasoline. That was the situation there in Venezuela in 2019. You saw now the Trump sanction to Venezuela in oil, currency, debt started in 2018. And of course, this is the consequence of what I just mentioned in 2019. In 2018, the government of the United States took us out from the SWIFT system, monetary system. That means that we couldn't have any kind of international transaction from our product. Not only gold, oil, but gold, rare earths, materials, agriculture, anything that we could have produced at a time, we couldn't have sold it because there was no way for us to receive any money. So we started like doing things like the Middle Age trade in commodities in order to get some benefit for the people. That's the way. And then we had this, of course, with this, we had this approach to China, Russia, Iran, and India. I remember since 2013 that India started investing in Venezuela concerning oil, and then after with pharmaceutical products. And we have seen that there was a real development and some state of welfare and some state of alleviation of the poverty in Venezuela during this last year of from 2015 to 2020. Even with that, as I told you, with concerning economic development and regional cooperation with the Caribbean, we still stand, and we will keep standing with the less favorite, with the oppression of people. So we are standing, and we will keep standing with Palestine, with Cuba, and with all the people that struggle around the world, even in our condition as we see now. And what I just mentioned, the main factor was the economic growth from the last 2 years, 2023 until 25, despite U.S. sanction. As the President Maduro said on the last day of December of 2025, he said, now we have 20 trimester, like a 2 years and a quarter of it, with economic growth, without any kind of stoppage, with any kind of weakness concerning this. And of course, that brought, in our case, just imagine a country that despite sanction, it's working, it's developing, and it's diversifying its industry, of course. The main objective was to go an entry into BRICS with this association, this group of people and governments that don't want this imperialism, and that they can work with a sanction, of course. That's why we last year, 2023, because of that start in 2023, We were working here, also in India, there. And last year, 2024, and last year, how shocked and how mm, I don't like to say disappointed, but yes, in a way, disappointed about the behavior of the Brazilian government concerning the veto that gave us concerning BRICS. So we couldn't develop. Perhaps they had their own concerns concerning Venezuela as a, I don't know, troublesome or something. But this is the situation. We were shocked and that we couldn't enter during this. And well, we'll see what will happen next concerning this situation. Okay, next slide.
Sir Lobo, if we
All this
can finish.
situation
Oh, sorry.
that
If
we
we can
have.
finish in the next 10 minutes for the
Yes,
time,
yes,
would be perfect.
I'll
Thank
do
you.
it right away.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'll do it right away. All this situation that we have, all this background brought us to the situation now. We are suffering this blitzkrieg from the US war machine with this loafer, of course, you have said all over, being accused of Venezuela, being accused of a terrorist, human rights, narcotics, dictatorship accusation. And we had it in, remember, September, October, this naval blockade against Venezuela. And January 3, this um, hurtful January 3 with the kidnapping of President Maduro and the um, uh, sitting parliamentary Cecilia Flores. The United States regime broke all international law and treatment rules. It's like they started uh, acting as a or having attacks of war and having attacks of acts of piracy, regardless of any rule that we have done. So, and they of course they start threatening all the countries. Okay, and the next slide. What have we done, or what we are doing now? And this is very short, but really important. How to react to this threat and to this out of work from the U.S. Government. Now you have seen all this day from day 3 to until now. You are in the still in the January 17. The mobilization, all the people in the street going to the street, getting those rallies. There were in Venezuela the sectors, the trade union from every single sector are trying to, all of them are trying to mobilize and start demonstrating all over Venezuela, not only in Caracas, all over Venezuela every day. For instance, yesterday was the trade union of healthcare, transportation. Before that was education, and so on, women. So it's really important. You have seen how the public powers have united, and they are working tirelessly in order to bring President Maduro back. This is really important. And we have seen the mass mobilization and outrage of social movement, not only in Venezuela, but elsewhere, but overseas in the whole Venezuela, I mean, the whole world. We are still practicing and we are focusing in this Bolivarian diplomacy of peace, because we know that the military, we are not much for the U.S. War machine. We are not. You know what happened there. I can tell you briefly several things. The war that we have, the conflict, we have the armored conflict, lasts 2 hours, not like 20 minutes, 2 hours, with the result of the sacrifice of 32 Cuban sacrifice with the 108 Venezuelan killed. We have to bear in mind that 83 KIA killing action, soldiers and armed force members, 25 civilians. 2 days ago, we had some meeting with the families of the victims of these 25 civilians. It's really, really hurtful and painful to see that because of greed, because of this greed of corporation, had led to a madman called Trump to invade Venezuela. This is the situation now. And we are doing everything that we can, UN, with the non-alignment movement, with the African Union, with getting political and parliamentary support. As I can tell you very briefly, yesterday I was so moved because the national coalition of the political alliance from the left in the Philippines, Makabayan, Bayan, they sent and published a resolution supporting Venezuela, condemning the U.S. imperialism, and demands the immediate and unconditional lifting of all illegal sanctions. And now we are having that's the final thing. What we're doing, we are trying to do our best, and we are setting up this bring them back campaign, and we are trying to do everything concerning social media information to all over the world. And that's something that comes with you, receipts the U.S.-led world movement, and with our social movement all around the world. We are working with, we received the guideline from the acting president. We are going to have to start an academic and journalist campaign in Venezuela. That means that we are going to promote a visit to Venezuela for all of you to go to there and perceive what's happening there, how is the situation, how the real situation there concerning the struggle that we're having, and to see what we can do. And they declare the 3rd of February as the International Day of Solidarity and Resistance against the U.S. imperialists. And the last slide is that this is an unprecedented situation. So in the State of Nation address that the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, read January 15, a few days back, she, in a way, started putting the idea of going back to normal, to the normalization of the situation in Venezuela as a way of struggle. They have this idea, I mean, the government, of rebuilding the Venezuelan society with the assistance of international social movement. And that's also really important for all of us who are here. This is an unprecedented situation. This is an unprecedented way of doing things. Therefore, we are trying to, in some way, to get the help from all of you in order to know what we can do, what we can, how we can react, or in order to create this way of peace, sovereignty, self-determination, and very important, that everything has to do with the government of the commons, of the people. It's we are still representative democracy concerning we have a head of government, head of state, parliament, and all that. But at the end, the power goes to the people, to the community, and that's how we are working with this. And finally, we cannot forget that this is the reaction of the U.S. Imperialist power. This is the reaction of the start of collapse. You saw it. I mean, we are seeing it now in Greenland. There will be some conflict with the United European Union, also with China and Russia, and they're in Ukraine, in the West Africa, and we'll see what happens. So we are counting with your help, with your cooperation, in order to first to bring them back, just like a next slide, to bring them back and to start ruling Venezuela and to see a way out of getting rid of these imperialist forces, not only in Venezuela but all around the world, in the Western Hemisphere, in the Caribbean, and in the world. So we are open to all your suggestions. And as from the bottom of my heart, I really thank you for this opportunity and for listening to what we can say about it. And now you can pass the slide because the rest of the slide, um, you see the second one and the third. It's the demonstration that we're having in Venezuela, that we're having worldwide concerning this to the return of the president and back to normalization. That's the only way. Thank you very much, comrade.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lobo. Again, it's such an honor to have you here and give us such a comprehensive situationer on this whole imperialist offensive in Venezuela, and also remind us that there is a way out. The people are still fighting, and showing that the call is clear, right? That we need to build this anti-imperialist movement, this anti-US led war movement that can really show its solidarity in a material way with the Venezuelan people and all the peoples being affected by the US war machine. And excited to go to Venezuela too. Excited to see that call there, to experience Venezuela for what it is and see the Bolivarian Revolution in practice. So very exciting, and thank you so much. Maybe we can take one or two questions if folks have. Some were sent to me, and if you have one that you want to say, you can also raise your hand. But to start, Anna was asking, can you share how the US actions in Venezuela are a break of international law? So that's one of the questions, if you are able to respond.
Yes, of course. As you have seen, the Article 4 of the Charter of United Nations, you have seen that it's not a recommendation. It's not like a wish list. It's a mandate. We are banning, all the countries are banning the threat of force. They cannot do that. And in international law, once you sign a treaty, once you sign an international treaty, it becomes supranational. That means covers over the national law. This is how it works. It's contravening all the Charter of United Nations, the Treaty of Tlatelolco, 1967, that declared the Latin America as the zone of peace and free from nuclear weapons. Well, you remember how in September, October, yes, they deploy the USS Gerald Ford along with nuclear submarine. So they are against the international law, and in some way, and that's very important, this question, because they have to face legal consequence for each one of the operators of this act of war. It might be in some years, it may be soon, it may be later, but they will have to face the consequence. Now we're seeing with pain how the U.S. government, the Donald Trump government, have also have had some acts of aggression against the people from Minnesota, against the with the ICE operation, uh, everything that is happening, and it's for us in Venezuela, it's like some final ways of trying to overcome all the weakness that the imperialism is having now. And of course, that's when they say when the beast is wounded, it's when it's more dangerous. So we have to take care of it. But definitely, it's something that they are going to. They'll have to have the consequence of this, and legal one.
Thank you so much. I'll take the Resist PDX watch party question as the last one. If you want to unmute.
Hola, buenas tardes. Le estamos hablando desde Portland, pero yo soy de Petare. Noté que mencionó que la oposición no está teniendo ningún tipo de demostraciones en Venezuela, lo cual es verdad. Ah, sí, lo cual es verdad. Pero no mencionó que el gobierno bolivariano decretó un estado de conmoción exterior y el artículo 5 le ha dado derecho a la policía municipal y estatal a buscar y capturar cualquier persona que pueda verse como que está apoyando cualquier tipo de agresión y lo que mucha gente está considerando como una manera de censurar la oposición. De hecho, esta semana 13 adolescentes y 8 adultos en Barcelona fueron detenidos por simplemente poner en las redes sociales que no querían que Maduro volviera. ¿Usted cree que eso tiene un efecto por el cual la oposición no se está demostrando en Venezuela?
Okay, I can answer that. We saw this, as I told you at the beginning. This is an unprecedented situation, and we are trying to cope with it the best possible way. Concerning this decree of external commotion, they start doing this. They started with checking phones, and soon after, and probably you saw it, like 2-3 days later, uh, they published the national police published the rule of this state of commotion doesn't mean that we have to check the phones and to violate the privacy of people. We did it like 2-3 days ago. Remember that everything it's the same. It's shocking. It's an unprecedented, and we are trying to do our best in order to do this. Of course, there'll be cases of excess. No, probably you have seen it. There have been a few, but still demonstration rallies from the position there. As I told you, in Doral, Miami, and Florida, and Germany, and Brussels, in London. But still, if you see, it's only a few people. If you see the big demonstration all over the world and in Venezuela, you will see that's a big difference. Concerning this, and this is really important that you have noted, those are the things that we need to hear. Those are the things that we need to read and understand in order to start improving, in order to start amending mistakes, and in order to do the thing the right way. This is really important. It's not anything that we have to silence or to disregard at all. This is really important what you have said, and this is a way for us to learn how to do the thing the right way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lobo, again, for the whole situation and answering the questions. I think if folks have further questions, you can put it in the chat. We can do our best to maybe get a response for after and send it to you. But because of time, we'll move on and I'll pass it to Rhonda so that we can continue our meeting. And yeah, thank you again, Mr. Lobo. This was really, really great.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to everybody who's here. My name's Rhonda. I'm also with the Resist Secretariat. And again, thank you so much to the Honorable Richard Lobo for your explanation of the situation in Venezuela, your analysis of U.S. interests in the country and in the region, and the importance of international solidarity, especially at this time, in support of the Venezuelan people and the nation of Venezuela. So now we're shifting into the part of our meeting where we'd like to have a discussion with all of our members and other friends who are here about how we can take action now in solidarity with Venezuela. The need for it is stronger than it has ever been before, as we all know. And the anti-imperialist movements of the world must really arm ourselves with a clear analysis of the situation and call for mass mobilizations to support the people of Venezuela across the world to demand an end to the U.S. aggression and expose the myths, the lies that are at the foundations of what the U.S. is trying to use to justify its aggression toward the country. So at this time, we'd like to share some resource materials that Resist has either created or supported the development of to help all of us in our education and organizing work that we're going to need to continue to do to stand and act in solidarity. And then after that, we'll open the floor to hear about specific actions and activities that organizations on this call are conducting and which we hope more of us here will be able to participate in. And we'd also like to hear from you all about what other resources or things can be done to support the organizing, to support the actions in solidarity with Venezuela. So with that, I would like to call on Carly Brooke, who is another member of the Resist Secretariat, to share about some of the resource materials that we have available to help with organizing.
Thanks, Rhonda. And yeah, thank you again, Mr. Richard Lobo, for your presentation. Thanks everyone for being here. We are excited to be part of an international month of action to stand against the US-led imperialist offensive in Latin America and the Caribbean. There is an exciting set of resources that we're trying to produce in collaboration to get everybody as prepared as we can and really to strengthen our mobilization, strengthen our analysis, and also strengthen our coordination and relationships so that the call can be met to really rise up against this offensive. So you can visit this website, peoplestruggle.org/en/bz-action, and this will be placed in the chat for a political advisory, for a set of actions coming up, a calendar of major mobilizations, some of them very localized, some of them coordinated weeks of action, which we'll hear more about tonight. And this is one good reference to learn about the myths that the US is promoting against Venezuela, to download resources that you can use in your organizing for that purpose. And then statements that have been produced by many parts of our movement in many parts of the world that can really call on the masses. Like the comrade said, it's really in the hands of the people and the power of the people that can respond. So you can sign on to this month of action at this website. And the comrades from ILPS in Latin America will address this in just a little bit. There's also a website page on the Resist US Led War website, resistusledwarmovement.com, that has some more resources like action placards. If you need something quick to print or ideas for slogans to show our united resistance, you can download these. There is a link tree that's been produced by a ad hoc group of organizations in North America that has a lot of resources regarding action, regarding labor resolutions, toolkits for mobilizing, places to learn the analysis and history, and many more things. There is a sign-on letter available here. There are several primers and tools, and you can even download and print these zines to hand them out in person in your actions to actively wage this anti-disinformation campaign. So yeah, these are the main resources we want to make folks aware of. And one of the reasons why we gather together is to learn from each other and to strengthen our knowledge. So please use these resources. Please give us feedback in the discussion on what's working, what you need, what you've already produced and would like to share, and share those to the network so we can continue to propagate them. Yeah, so I'll just let others here give more details about some of these methods of sharing information. Oh, these are the placards. Let me get back to the slides and I'll pass it back to you, Rhonda.
Thanks, Carly. All right, so let's hear from people that are here on the call. There's been so many actions taken so far. If you've been to one or if you've helped organized one, let us know in the chat, raise your hand, or give us a little emoji to let us know. But first off, I do want to say that for our sharings, would like our guests here who would like to say a few words about the actions, to kind of home in on a few points. So one, let us know proposals that you might have for how Resist can expand solidarity with Venezuela. Let us know about actions that you've taken or plan to conduct locally, nationally, or even internationally. And then if you have examples of propaganda and educational materials that you have used or you have made, share those with us, especially the ones that you found especially helpful. And if you have suggestions for what resources or tools you think you may need or could be helpful to others as we go forth in organizing, share that as well. Yeah, if you would like to share, just let us know in the chat or raise your hand. I know there are a few people here who are already ready to speak. So while others are warming up, I'd like to first start with Antonio, who is with the International League of People's Struggle Guatemala chapter. Antonio, if you would unmute your microphone and share with us about what ILPS in Guatemala and internationally is up to.
Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas noches aquí en Guatemala. Eh, voy a tratar de hablar despacio para que no tengamos inconvenientes con los compañeros de la traducción. Bueno, mi nombre es Antonio Sánchez, yo soy estudiante universitario, miembro del Frente Estudiantil Revolucionario Robin García, organización estudiantil universitaria en Guatemala, que es parte de la ILPS en el capítulo Guatemala. Como parte del capítulo de Guatemala de la ILPS, desde el 3 de enero, cuando sucedió el secuestro y el vil y cobarde ataque de, el, de las fuerzas imperialistas estadounidenses contra Venezuela, tanto la ILPS en conjunto como sus organizaciones miembro en el capítulo Guatemala han participado activamente en varias acciones, digamos, en defensa de la revolución bolivariana en la medida en que estar tan lejos de Venezuela nos lo permite. Y creo yo, en donde podemos aportar más también en la denuncia de este hecho terrible que ha cobrado muchísimas vidas, las vidas de 32 héroes cubanos y de más de 80 personas venezolanas, como mencionaba aquí el compañero Richard Lobo, a quien le agradezco su exposición, por cierto. Y pues en vista de este cobarde ataque, de lo lamentable que resulta la pérdida de vidas humanas, de vidas que en ningún momento estaban preparadas para el combate, que fueron tomadas por sorpresa, que a quienes no se les hizo declaración previa alguna, quienes estaban viviendo en un contexto de asedio y de represión por parte del gobierno estadounidense terrible y en un ambiente bastante hostil. eh, lo menos que podemos hacer como miembros de organizaciones que se dicen revolucionarias es la denuncia de este tipo de acciones del actuar impune del gobierno imperialista estadounidense, además apoyado por una parte muy importante de otras potencias imperialistas en el esquema internacional. Um, Mencionar que todos los capítulos de ILPS, Guatemala, México, Colombia, El Salvador, Argentina y Bolivia, hemos realizado acciones desde comunicados, plantones y marchas, como mencionaba, desde el 3 de enero hasta la fecha, y estamos muy activos y activas en las acciones que se están proponiendo durante este mes de solidaridad con Venezuela, que precisamente inició el día de ayer. Además, digamos, de estas acciones en el marco de la ILPS, eh, hemos sumado todos los esfuerzos colectivos que otras organizaciones que no son parte de ILPS han realizado en territorio guatemalteco. Pasados un par de días del ataque estadounidense, nos sumamos a varias organizaciones, partidos políticos, organizaciones que no son parte de ILPS, movimientos para una protesta frente a la Embajada de Estados Unidos en Guatemala, eh, en solidaridad absoluta con, con Venezuela, porque creo que muy pocos países en el mundo han experimentado lo que experimentó Venezuela y uno de esos es Guatemala. Nosotros nuestra política nacional e internacional ha sido dictada por el gobierno estadounidense, por la burguesía estadounidense, en connivencia con la burguesía guatemalteca, desde que en 1954 dieron un golpe de Estado que desencadenó una guerra civil en la que el apoyo estadounidense al ejército de Guatemala pues cobró 200,000 vidas y alrededor de 45,000 desapariciones forzadas eh, con la colaboración directa y expresa del gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Entonces, nosotros como guatemaltecos y guatemaltecas que tienen conciencia de la historia de nuestro país, eh, lo menos que podemos hacer, como he dicho, es solidarizarnos con lo sucedido en Venezuela. Y pues también como ILPS en este mes de solidaridad con Venezuela, hemos invitado a las más de 400 organizaciones en los 40 países en los que tenemos presencia a sumarnos en una sola voz por Venezuela y en contra de los ataques fascistas del imperialismo yanqui, eh, con, especialmente con esta cuestión que como guatemaltecos y guatemaltecas nos toca, que es el haber sufrido en carne propia el, el, lo más terrible y lo profundo y despiadado y cruel que puede llegar a ser la maquinaria imperialista, como decía Ernesto Che Guevara, ¿no? La bestialidad imperialista, porque bestias fueron cuando invadieron el Congo y bestias son y fueron hace unos días, el 3 de enero, cuando realizaron esta acción militar en contra no solo del gobierno venezolano, de la revolución bolivariana, sino también en contra del pueblo venezolano. Pues, creo yo que hay un concepto muy importante que como izquierda, como movimientos revolucionarios en Guatemala, utilizamos mucho y es el del terrorismo de Estado. Evidentemente, el gobierno estadounidense ha actuado de forma terrorista a diferencia de las falsas acusaciones que lanza contra el gobierno y contra la revolución bolivariana, el gobierno estadounidense demuestra con hechos pues su am, proclividad, su tendencia a ejercer acciones terroristas contra otros estados. Y el terrorismo de Estado es especialmente condenado en cualquier corte internacional, en cualquier sistema de justicia o cualquier circuito de justicia internacional. Y también hacia eso tenemos que apuntar, hacia la denuncia de este tipo de acciones, hacia la búsqueda de trabajos en colectivo que nos permitan pasar, digamos, de la denuncia hacia ciertas medidas que generen consecuencias para el gobierno estadounidense. Y creo que como movimientos que estamos aquí presentes es nuestra tarea dejarlo por ahí, agradecerles el espacio eh, y pues toda nuestra solidaridad con Venezuela, manifestársela aquí al compañero Richard Lobo y a todo el pueblo de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela, que a pesar del bloqueo, a pesar del terrorismo que Estados Unidos busca ejercer, trata de llevar la vida con normalidad y alegría. Y eso se refleja en muchísimos videos que hemos visto en redes sociales, donde a pesar de todo, el pueblo venezolano sale a la calle en defensa de su revolución, pidiendo el regreso del compañero presidente y de la primera combatiente, y también uh, sale a las calles a tratar de retomar la normalidad, a tratar de vivir con alegría, como lo caracteriza al ciudadano y a la ciudadana venezolana. Entonces, muchísimas gracias y pues que tengan una feliz noche.
Thank you so much, Antonio, and for drawing the connections between Guatemala, the kind of support that the US government has given to fascist leaders, dictators in the past, and currently enacting basically acts of terrorism on the people of Venezuela against the Venezuelan state. And reminding us of the need for solidarity between our different movements. We're actually all fighting against the same imperialist beast as it attacks in many different ways our people and our countries. Thanks also for sharing about the month of action that the International League of People's Struggle initiated and which Resist is a part of. I think the call, which, the main call for this month of action, stand against the US-led imperialist offensive in Latin America and the Caribbean, couldn't be more couldn't be better explained than how you talked about the conditions and connection between Guatemala and Venezuela in this period, and showing how this offensive is not only targeting Venezuela, but actually the people of the region as well. So thank you. Wanted to now ask Austin, who's with the Black Alliance for Peace and has been helping to initiate another effort to mobilize against the attacks on Venezuela. Resist has also been part of this initiative in the US. I know there's a week of action coming up, so would like to invite Austin to share a little bit about that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. And thank you, Richard and Antonio as well for sharing some analysis and updates about the situation and the various things happening across the region. So I did want to share, Carly had, I think, started to mention a little bit about this week of resistance. And you'll see in the on the side there are a couple of links there for folks to follow to learn more. But a group of folks, a group of organizations, now I believe over 60 organizations in North America, are coming together for a week of resistance to disrupt the U.S. war machine and stop the war on Venezuela. There are several demands, but this, as so people know, this effort from a bunch of different organizations throughout North America, both, local, national, international organizations from across the region, are really making this call for a week of resistance as a follow on to calls that happened on January 3rd through the 5th after the kidnapping of President Maduro and Celia Flores and the bombing of Venezuela and murder of, as we heard, over 108 people in Venezuela, as well as fall into the November week of action when the U.S. was pressing aggression. And so for us, this week of resistance obviously is focused on the war in Venezuela, but we also are thinking about the ways that the US consistently wages war against all peoples throughout the globe, all oppressed peoples, and violates the national sovereignty and popular sovereignty of various nations and various communities and peoples throughout the world, including the acceleration of domestic repression, as Richard mentioned earlier, with the attacks by ICE agents and murders by ICE agents over the last few weeks, and even previously the death of several people in ICE detention facilities, as well as the ongoing police and state murders of Black, brown, and oppressed people throughout the country. And so throughout North America, I should say. And so for us, this week of resistance really is focused on kind of more strategically and tightly coordinating our efforts, both at a local, national, and international level, but with the focus um, on North America for these different groups. And so there's an online rally that I think was just passed in the chat that folks can attend on January 25th that will really talk about some of the specific strategies and specific actions that people are taking over the course of the week. I'll say some of the things that we are encouraging folks to do is to really have resistance at key pressure points of US militarization. So that is some of those are like the MDC, the detention center in Brooklyn, where Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores are being held, at other detention centers, ICE detention centers, city halls, cop cities, other training facilities, weapons manufacturers, fossil fuel and oil companies, as well as US military bases, consulates, and embassies. So that is an important, and sorry, I think I'm talking a little fast, so I'll slow down. Um, all of those are sites where we think it would be effective for people to engage in coordinated resistance. I'll close out by saying the 6 demands that we have for this week of resistance are to one, stop the war on Venezuela. 2, no to US wars for regime change. So that includes in Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, Colombia, in Haiti, and beyond. Um, 3, free President Maduro and Celia Flores. 4, defend Venezuela's sovereignty and right to resist. 5, end the US war on migrants. And 6, end the genocide in Palestine and defeat Zionism. And as you'll see, there's some more detailed information there for folks to share. So again, would really encourage all who are interested to attend that mass online rally, and also to reach out to us and to register any events that you're having related to this on the UNAC site. And if you're interested in collaborating, to get in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Austin. We're really honored and excited to be part of this effort in the US and looking forward to having hopefully hundreds of actions for the whole week. I know when the actions were called back in November, we had over 100, and hopefully there'll be even more this time around. Thank you. I'm seeing in the chat there is a message from Eva with the Milwaukee Anti-War Coalition about a month of action that you're also doing. Wondering if you'd like to come off of mute and share a little bit about your efforts there in Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rhonda. And thank you, everyone who's already described all of the actions and background that has that you've given. Thank you. So yeah. So on January 5th, I believe it was, we sorry, I have our events pulled up on my computer. Let's see. Right. So yeah, on January 4th, we announced that the kickoff, the announcement of our month of action. On the 5th, we had a press conference, followed later that day by a banner drop over a freeway saying hands off Venezuela. We had one or two local elected officials who have supported, or like socialist elected officials who have supported us. Also in attendance, just getting the word out about this month of action. And after that, we officially posted our calendar, which let's see, on the 11th, we had a watch party for the Anti-War Action Network, uh, their webinar, where they had a couple of folks from a delegation that went to Venezuela back in December, kind of go into that visit, what they learned, and how we can continue our actions going forward. Then on the 14th, we had a phone zap and movie night, phone zap for supporting some of our comrades in Jacksonville who were facing some bogus charges after being like attacked by the police. And then we held a movie night for the documentary The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which is free on Vimeo, I think, and maybe YouTube as well, which is a documentary going into the 2002 attempted coup of President Hugo Chavez. And it was a good way to sort of, and we held a quick discussion after to kind of get people talking and really thinking about how that kind of parallels with what's been going on now. Today, actually, we had a Hands Off Venezuela teach-in. We had about 30 attendees, including MAC members, but that was a really good teach-in. We had several speakers come in and talk about let's see, we actually have a comrade in Milwaukee who was part of that delegation that went to Venezuela in December. So they discussed what they learned and what they experienced. We also had a couple of other members of our organizing community give descriptions of let's see, Puerto Rican solidarity with Venezuela, Colombian solidarity with Venezuela, as well as connecting Venezuela to Palestine, and just kind of continuing a lot of this education that we're trying to encourage and offer to people through this month of action. Let's see, on our calendar, we have two more events. On the 19th, we're just encouraging people to go to the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day event presentation. I don't know how much they're going to connect that to Venezuela, but and then on the 20th, we're kind of tying it all together with our 1 year against Trump action march. Might be cold that day, so we'll see if it ends up happening. But yes, just kind of, and I think also tying that in with, as others have said before, tying that in with just the repression that we've seen escalate in this past year. Of course, it didn't start a year ago. It started very, very long ago, but how we've seen these escalations continue and sort of connecting with what we can continue to do in the future. Yeah, I think that's all I have right now. But oh, okay, yes. Paulo says that that documentary is free on YouTube. I highly recommend watching it, by the way.
Thank you, Eva.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. And if you have a link to it, you can drop it in the chat. Yeah, and I think as like all of our speakers have talked about some of the different ways that folks are taking action. I mean, there's the actions that are happening in front of really strategic locations, whether they're military bases, U.S. embassies, federal buildings, in front of weapons manufacturers. There's teach-ins, there are banner drops. So many different options for folks that folks can take. If you do have questions or requests or ideas for what could be useful, but the resources aren't out there yet, feel free to also, raise your hand or drop a message in the chat to let us know that you'd like to ask a question or provide an idea for resources that could be made. We have a lot of rich experience in this network and would love to engage our members in helping to produce these resources or sharing what already exists. Wanted to see, I saw in the chat that uh, the Asia-wide campaign Japan has conducted a protest rally in front of the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo and planning a webinar soon. I know that they are part of the Resist Asia Pacific campaign network. Wondering if you all might want to unmute and say anything about either the work you're doing on the ground or ideas you have for actions that others can take. And then I see Paolo's hand is up. So after Resist Asia Pacific, AWC Japan, I'll call on Paolo. So yeah, would anybody from Japan like to unmute and speak?
Okay. Hi. We're from Resist Asia Pacific. Okay. Hi.
Like scrambling.
Thank you for having this webinar. We're listening in from Japan. So when the invasion and kidnapping happened, I think it was same week we had snap action 3 days in a row. The first one was with AWC, and then the other two were with other groups that we're working together with. And now, since the launch of the month of action, we have been coordinating with Resist people to organize a webinar, and hopefully that will be soon, either this month or next month. So that's what we have so far. For Resist ASPAC, our campaign, our overarching campaign right now is the Peace Caravan or the Peace Island Chain. This is to fight the US attack on China using the island chain strategies. So I think there's like 4 or 5 island chains. And the first island chain goes from Japan through Korea, Taiwan, Okinawa, Philippines, and then around
Indonesia.
and then around to Indonesia.
Yeah.
And so we have AWC in Taiwan and South Korea as well. And of course with the organizations in the Philippines and Indonesia and with our contacts in Okinawa, we have constantly been campaigning last year in each of these countries and coordinating them against the US attack on China through these puppet countries like Japan. Yes. Anyone else want to add?
No, good to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add a little context to like what's happening in Japan right now as well, with the current new Prime Minister Takaichi sort of just pushing it towards, a state of war under the US sort of interest at the same time. like what we see happening in Venezuela doesn't feel it feels like something that could happen in our region as well. So we see the importance of continuing to not only stand in solidarity with the Venezuelan people, but also we protest U.S. military bases here in Japan, and we see a lot of parallel that's happening. So that's another important reason why that we are focusing on these campaigns. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Resist Asia Pacific and AWC Japan for sharing. I think that reminds me that, with the US, they have US imperialism has its different fronts of war. And, they've identified China as its number one, strategic rival, and that the island chain strategy and the US gearing up for war against China, militarizing Asia and the Pacific is actually not disconnected from the aggression in Venezuela. It's about the US trying to assert and claw its way back up to the number one superpower in the world. And it will compete with China in Latin America. It'll compete with China throughout Asia Pacific. And it will militarize places where it has these strategic interests. And so, the importance of building solidarity among our different struggles, identifying ways in which we can stand in solidarity with each other, and linking our analysis of the maneuvers of US-led war and militarization is really important so that we build solidarity based on shared targets, but then also a shared vision, right, of a world without this kind of militarism and war that's so devastating for the people. So thank you for sharing and helping to remind us of that. So I want to call on Paulo to speak now.
Hello, hello. Yes, my name is Paulo. I'm the co-founder of Los Sonderos de las Redes, a proven collective organizing here in the diaspora in the United States. We're also part of the International Migrants Alliance. I just want to first off say what a great webinar so far with the Venezuelan diplomat, and as well as the comrades in Japan standing in solidarity with Latin America, with Venezuela. As I've seen myself on social media, how in occupied Okinawa, with the U.S. military base, the Japanese are making these connections over there in South Korea as well, where Asia and didn't really have that much strong solidarity with Latin America, but our people have been displaced and put into that diaspora there. I myself am of Chinese descent, and we have many Chinese and Japanese people in my home country in Peru. So the other point I want to make is that 2 years ago we had our major confrontation against the RIMPAC military exercise that took place in Hawaii. We had a major summit conference in San Diego. And so this year it's going to be taking place once again, the world's largest maritime exercise for multiple foreign country navies, or hosted by the United States. And so we can draw a lot of parallels with this as these battleships are moving to encircle Cuba right now, still in the Caribbean as well, for possible another invasion into Venezuela or Colombia or Mexico or anywhere else in that region, but as well moving their ships to Iran, near the Iranian shores, from the Chinese fronts there. And so these are a lot of parallels that we can make out of this. Just want to name those countries that were participating 2 years ago were, of course, the United States, Israel, France, Australia, Indonesia, India, Malaysia, Chile, Canada, United Kingdom, Colombia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Peru, New Zealand, Japan, Mexico, Germany, Korea, Brazil, Italy, the Philippines, Ecuador, Netherlands, and Tonga, and Brunei. And so it's very, very much important that we do something once again relating to this here in the United States with this war economy to impede this war machine from progressing and expanding. And as we're seeing it rapidly moving forward in expanding to Greenland, into other parts of Latin America. We're seeing U.S. military troops in Argentina since Javier Milei since he's been in power, and as well in Peru, we have 5 to 7 military bases there. This new year, they have the Peruvian Congress allowed the entry of U.S. troops and weapons of war for a 4th consecutive year. And Trump has declared that Peru is the new non-NATO ally member that used to be held by Colombia. But of course, Colombia is held by Gustavo Petro now and is under threat by the U.S. imperialists. And so we see that here in South America that they are just desperately holding a chokehold onto this region for its natural resources and to continue the exploitation of its peoples, its lands and waters, and destroying the Amazon, of course, and in the Patagonia region as well, where we see Israelis even over there, not just IOF people, soldiers that are vacationing there, but also Israeli weapons from Elbit systems being sold to these governments that are aligned with the imperialist agenda. So we want to also say, Councilor Rinpek, I got my bandana from 2 years ago over there.
Thank you so much. So that's a plug, calling on us to protest against RIMPAC again. I know that the people of Hawaii, every time RIMPAC happens, they mobilize and organize against it. So we should be in solidarity, act in solidarity in whatever way we can. Thank you for helping us make those connections. You know, as the U.S. amps up these war games, conducts more and more joint military exercises with so many countries around the world. It's really already waging war on the people as it conducts those exercises, and then takes that practice and then wages war on people around the world. So thank you for reminding us of the need to constantly oppose these military exercises. We have another sharing. We have a short video from the Diaspora Palante Colectiva, Brianna, who wasn't able to be here. She also does some work with the Zone of Peace campaign. And they wanted to talk a bit about how they also are taking action on Venezuela. So I want to ask our tech team if we can queue up that short message and video, and hopefully this will also prompt some ideas among all of us here for actions that we can take.
Organization of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora fighting. Hello everyone, my name is Brianna Alvarado Ramos. I'm a member of the Diaspora Palante Collective, an organization of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora fighting for an independent and socialist Puerto Rico. Hello everyone, my name is Brianna Alvarado Ramos. I'm a member of the Diaspora Palante Collective, an organization of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora fighting for an independent and socialist Puerto Rico. I'm also a member of La Jornada Se Acabaron las Promesas, which is an organization that has been fighting against the Fiscal Control Board in Puerto Rico that was established in 2016, and also more generally in support of the independence of Puerto Rico and against the U.S. militarization in our country. As some of you may or may not know, on January 3rd, 2026, Puerto Rico was used by the US military and by the US government as the launching pad to be able to carry out the attacks on Venezuela and also the kidnapping of democratically elected President Nicolas Maduro Moros and also First Lady and First Combatant Celia Flores. And as long as we remain a colony of the United States, we will continue to be used, not just in the attacks against Venezuela, but historically in attacks against nearby countries such as Grenada, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, and so on and so forth, Panama as well. And so a lot of the militarization that we're seeing with the troops arriving, the ships, the jets, this is a constant reminder for us as a people of what happened during the occupation of Vieques and also the occupation of Culebra, where both of these islands were occupied by the US military for decades and committed heinous acts of testing bombs, Agent Orange, displacing women, sexually assaulting women here in Puerto Rico. And this fight was a fight to remove the military from the island of Vieques, which we successfully did in 2003. Although there still remains very high levels of cancer across the islands, and still the US military has access to over 77,000 acres of land across the island of Puerto Rico. And so a lot of our fight today has been protesting the militarization of our country. There have been various piquetes or protests outside of the various US military bases, as there are 7 across the islands, as well as an emergency protest that we led on the 3rd after the attacks on Venezuela to be able to show our support and also denounce the military being here. And we will continue to build this broad united front that's not only fighting against imperialism, but fighting for the independence of Puerto Rico. Because as I mentioned, as long as we remain a colony of the United States, this will continue to happen. And our region of Nuestra America will always be under attack. And so in order for us to have a zone of peace, we must fight for the independence of Puerto Rico. And we stand in solidarity and in joint struggle with our brothers and sisters in Venezuela as we fight US imperialism together. Peace. Que viva Puerto Rico libre.
Puerto Rico Libre. We wish that Brianna could have been here live, but it was great to hear. I think that it's really important for us to also know about the way that Puerto Rico has been used as a staging ground for the attacks against Venezuela, but that also the people in Puerto Rico are standing up and organizing, taking action every day against that militarization. If you check out Resist's Instagram and our website, you'll actually see some videos that we've posted of actions that our members have been taking in Puerto Rico. So let's take inspiration from them. So I know we only have about 5 minutes left in our time together. There were some great ideas that were generated. I think what I'm hearing is people want to do more actions, would like to share resources together, would like to draw connections between the different struggles and the different ways that U.S. militarization and aggression connects the different ways and the different places actually connect, and that there are many actions continuing through the rest of the month and into next month, and people are planning to mobilize quickly if things escalate further. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Victor to finish out our meeting and provide some closing remarks. Victor.
Yes, thank you so much, Rhonda. Such a wealth of sharings and ideas and actions that are coming up. So it's really, again, inspiring to hear all of that so that we can continue to be in solidarity with the people of Venezuela, the Bolivarian Revolution. I'll be really quick, but I think one reminder that I want to give is that this is just one of the forms that we can communicate with each other within the network. So if folks have any ideas or questions or things that would be helpful to them in organizing their actions and educational materials that would be helpful with the questions that they are encountering as they organize people, talk about Venezuela, and expose the myths that the US has been spreading. You can always reach any of us in the Secretariat. I think would be really a pleasure to put out the ask to the network and also see what we can do with our organized strength here. Because as you saw, we have many different ways to do it and a lot of knowledge here. So email, Instagram, Facebook, or even the chat of the network itself. I know that in the last few days there was already an ask about the myths and truths slide. Someone made a zine. Thank you so much. So it's already happening, and more things are gonna come out. And we should keep talking to each other and learning how we can better be in solidarity and help each other in this organizing. Maybe we can go to the next slide. If there is one. Just a reminder again, there will be the online rally, which will happen. So a lot of different organizations have been helping organize this, and it's going to be really huge. It's going to kick off the month of action, the week of action from the 24th to the 31st. And I think for this, Resist is already producing a weapons watch, kind of signaling a lot of those weapons companies and other companies that profit from war, that profited from this invasion, so that we can have more clarity also in who we can target, who we can direct our force to. And the other plug is we also are looking for folks for the global committees, which is a direct way in which we can produce this propaganda and educational materials, which we are already producing and will continue to produce to facilitate these actions and grow and spread and broaden our reach and power of action. So you can also join those, the research committee, research and education committee. I see the links are being sent in the chat. You can also please spread the word about these next few events. We can go to the next slide. And then another exciting thing, we are releasing a fundraising campaign with new merch, particularly to popularize the call of No War with Venezuela and their right for sovereignty and freedom and right to resist. So these will be coming out. You can order them. There's the link there. And we'll be producing them in a few weeks. So if folks want those, that's also an opportunity on how to engage. I think that's it. So we'll be closing the meeting now. 2 hours, a lot that we've learned together. I want to thank again Mr. Richard Lobo for being here and sharing so much with us and everyone else that came to share how they are mobilizing. Again, it's really inspiring. And we've got so many great ideas to continue this solidarity into this next month and beyond, of course. So thank you everyone for being here. We'll definitely see each other either on other webinars or in the streets. And let's keep up the fight.
Una voz de